Hi, everybody. Welcome to 2024. Jenny and I are back at it. How you doing, Jenny?
Oh, okay. A year.
We're ready to give you another great season, if you want to call it a season. We had a little hiatus there, and we're back working at Chicks Talking Pics. So welcome.
Yep.
And today we've got a few images, three or four images to show you. We just want to remind you that the San Diego County Fair is going to be starting up soon, so you better start thinking about what images you want to put into the fair this year. Or this is your forum, and whatever images you send in, we will discuss and give you feedback on.
Right.
Jenny,
And if you want to feedback before the fair, then probably should put some note attached to them so we know to prioritize those. What do you think,
yeah,
Sam? Yeah.
yeah, I think so. This is a bi-weekly type of a Zoom program. So if you kind of start counting weeks back, you'll notice that there's probably only three or four more episodes that we'll be able to give you feedback on before the fair. So do it soon.
Yep.
And we'll tell you how to do that at the end of this program today.
Yep. So stick
So
around.
let's, pardon me?
So stick around.
Just stick around. All right, let's go on to the first image. If I can advance those images. There we go.
Yep.
All right, Jenny, you're always first up, so I'm going to give you this one.
Okay. I do love the colors in this. Obviously a banana tree. I think it actually might work better if there was a little more focus, and I don't mean as in sharpness, I mean as in intentionality. The bottom part of the image with the kind of purpley blue petals is interesting, and then the bananas are interesting, and I think either one would be could be made into an image of their own. Um, Overall, it's kind of cropped really tight on the top, with the way the bananas are, but then you have this, yellow dying leaf on the other side that maybe they were trying to crop out. So, yeah, I think it's a good starting image, but maybe delve a little deeper, move around, and the explore the scene more would be the way to go on this. What do you got?
Yeah, I agree with you. The colors are absolutely marvelous. It's so hard sometimes to get color in your images, so you've done a great job. And probably the reason you captured this image. But I see a lot more like Jenny does. I see a couple of different pictures here and a couple of abstracts even. So this picture for me would go in a great, be used as a documentary image of a story about bananas and where they grow, how they grow, this and that, seasons of bananas. But I love that purpley leaf in the bottom lower part of the image, and I would crop into that and just kind of accentuate those shadows and make that an image all by itself. And maybe then even just crop into where the bananas are, and you could make that an image with some diagonals. It's hard to talk about it. Let me see if I can annotate that for you. Um, oh, I'm looking for my annotation screen, which is not, oh, there it is. Let me grab a tool here. I should have been ready for this because I wasn't going to.
We're out of practice. What can we say?
uh, Jenny, well, show us what you've got. You've got the annotation tool up, right?
Yeah, I do. Well, I
Yeah.
think what you were saying is to have two different images, right?
Yeah, right, right.
So, and then with the lower part, you could crop, at least that, or, even
Right.
closer and get into
Yeah, even further, even yeah, like you've got that kind of box in the bottom left. I like that. Yeah, even in there, leave out the green leaf. but just kind of accentuate all the movement from the leaves in the middle. I think that would make a really strong abstract.
Mhm.
So anyway, those are some examples of what you might be able to do with that image. But like I said, documentary for a story on bananas. I don't think it would be an award-winning image at a competition.
No, unless you did go real deep into the abstract on just that lower section.
Right.
I don't think overall, the way it is now, it wouldn't be something that grabs the judges.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next image. Thanks for submitting. Let's get that. Hello, move on. Maybe I need to get out of my annotation tool and then move on. There we go. Okay. Thanks for hanging in there, everybody. All right, so my turn to start. This is a really lovely image. I love all the little detail. I love the dark background on this one. I think it's centered. I think it would work good as maybe crop a little off the top. I don't want to make it square because for me, but I think the top part doesn't really tell or add too much to the story. So I like the petals. You can tell it looks like the depth of field is pretty good on the flower itself. So that works for me. But I think a little crop on my side and then maybe lighten up the flowers just a little bit more to give it. I don't mean open up the exposure because I don't want you to overexpose or blow out any of the petals. But I think maybe if you made them just a hair brighter. Jenny, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything you have there. I actually would probably darken the back a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And the whatever parts of the flower that show up as little yellowish brown spots in the background, I'd probably get rid of those depending on what contest. If you're submitting it somewhere, sometimes you can't do that, you can't remove things, but just aesthetically I would go in and remove them just because they're not adding anything and they're a little distracting. I agree with bringing a little bit more brightness into the flowers, but yeah, you'd have to do that carefully to not lose detail on
Yeah.
them. But I think if you darken the background a bit, it'll make the overall flowers pop out a little bit more.
Yep.
Anyway,
I
about lightning.
do like, oh sorry, Jenny.
Go ahead.
I do like the little tiny oh gosh, you know what, I probably am gonna practice with this before the next episode. I do like this little guy right here. I like these little guys here. They kind of add to what's going on in the middle here, you know, of these. So all of these I would keep. But I think I would maybe get rid of this one here and darken the background. Definitely this corner is a problem down here for me.
Mhm.
That little corner is brighter. This corner, oh no, that must be on my screen. Never mind about that one. But I think the rest, the faintness of this one, Jenny doesn't seem to think so, but I think those all add as repetition from the middle for for new flowers that are coming out. So personally, I wouldn't get rid of those, but
Well, and if we did crop from the top, you wouldn't have to worry about, like, if you cropped it here, you wouldn't have to worry about some of those.
true. Yeah. Yeah. Good. All right. Let me close the annotation tool. I didn't mean to. And let's go to the next image. All right, your turn, Jenny.
Okay. Some of the same things apply to this one. This one, I definitely think it should be cropped in. There's just too much space that isn't adding anything to the story. You do have a nice diagonal line here, and I think if you brought your image in closer, you would accentuate that. And definitely you've got this down here that's a distraction. So if you crop in, you'd lose that as well. And this up here, these kind of
Yeah, and the top left. Yeah.
so I think if you just crop it in a lot more, you know, whether you want to have it square, I don't know if you'd want to go square.
Well, I think it depends on what you're going to use the image for. Again, you always want to know where you're going to be using this image. If you put this in our queue for information about competition wise, then Jenny's right on. You need to crop out everything except for that flower in the middle. But if you're talking about submitting it to a magazine that's going to talk about this actual plant, then you might want to include that vine down there and make it a square image, and something like that. I don't know how that maker's going to use the image, but competition wise, you definitely need to zone in. You need to tell the judges what you want them to see specifically and make it a good composition at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, if you were gonna wanted space for copy in a magazine, you could keep some of that space and it could be used as copy space. But for a stronger image, I think cropping it would make a huge difference.
Yep.
And
I
maybe
agree.
background a little bit. I don't.
Pardon me?
Maybe darkening down a little bit would, the background would remove a little bit of the distractions back there.
Yeah. And it's tough to get this that whole stem with the flowers and everything in proper focus. This might be one that you would want to try again and do some focus stacking, or use a bigger depth of field. So like an F16, 11s, who knows, up to 18, 20, somewhere right in there, to try to get some of those flowers. I don't know how close, if this was doesn't look like a macro shot to me. So I don't know what lens you used, but it's something to experiment with. Maybe try a different lens, try a macro lens, try, something like that. I think I would work on that. Otherwise, the beauty is in those little white flowers that are, when you get off the stem a little bit further, everything blurs out. And so that's not interesting to me, but those, especially those two white flowers that are kind of dancing with each other. And that's kind of what it interests me about this shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And you could even zoom in on those two and make an interesting shot.
Well, that'd be a hell of a crop.
Excuse my language. You could reshoot it with,
reshoot it and maybe just hone in. Who knows if those flowers are even there now?
Right now,
but next year,
keep in mind, sometimes take your first couple shots and then start actually zooming in a little more and picking out little bits of the story.
Yeah. Oh, good idea. So when you first see what is attracting you to an image, we suggest you think about that, move around, zoom in more, zoom out more, whatever, and try to tell a little bit different of the story while you have your subject handy, right?
Yep.
Good. But next year I would go look for those flowers again and look for little dancing flowers where the petals are kind of intertwined with each other. That's the most interesting part to me.
Yeah.
So good. All right. Let's see what we got. We got one more. But yeah, we got 4 this week. That's great. So I really like this image, but I think it's 2 different plants. I don't know for sure. I don't know my plants that well. It looks like it's buckwheat on the bottom and then some other kind of fancy, really interesting plant on the top. And the top plants that are the ones that I am in love with. I don't know what's going on, but I love the focus. I mean, I don't know what plant that is and what stage it's in. That's what I mean by what's going on. But I just love the feather look of the plant itself, or the bud, or whatever that is. Do you know what it is, Jenny? I don't know what it is.
I'm trying to remember. It's the seeds, and salsify jumped in my head, but I don't know that that's it. I do see these in Idaho. We used to call them Dr. Seuss plants because I didn't know what they were at first, but
Oh, cute.
because they look like something Dr. Seuss would have created. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, the bottom one does look like a buckwheat or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a seed. Um,
Yeah. I love them. I think there's so much there to work with, but the top part of the image,
mhm.
I'm not sure that the bottom part of the image, I don't think they're the same plant. That's why I'm saying this. So you've got two plants, two different stories going on. If you're showing the interaction between the two plants, I think it's a fail on that one. But if it's the same plant in two different stages, then I need to understand that better. I don't, by having more of the bottom in focus or whatever. But yeah, I love the top part. What would I do with it? I just crop it all out. I just use the top part for my composition. Jenny?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And the thing, I like the positioning of them at the top part of the frame, which you'll lose if you crop it.
Yeah.
But they are just, I think, a distraction with just being, indescribable blobs the way they are. I mean, other than knowing it's some sort of plant or flower. Um, but yeah, the real story is in the seed heads at the top, and
Yeah.
maybe just get in closer next time and get the rest of that out of the image. For this image, yeah, you could crop it in. You'd still end up with the one that's right up against them. You could try and darken it down so it's not as distracting.
Or clone it out.
Or clone it out if you want to go that far. Yeah, it's a lot easier now with
Yeah.
all the AI tools.
Yeah, we don't know how much people want to invest in their image. And we're just giving you different options of what we might do. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd have to reshoot that without the little buckwheat or whatever that is on the bottom, and try to take out some of those blurred background white lines, which is probably part of the plant.
The stuff over here.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I see it behind. Yeah, I still see it also behind the inner part of the flower or the seed also. But yeah, even if you cleared up those two sections that Jenny said would be helpful.
Yeah, I think the stuff you're seeing behind is, more of the seed head.
Yeah, I do too.
If they're what I think they are, they're actually fairly large.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's what I.
Interesting though. Beautiful texture, beautiful again, the play within the wispy line of especially that one of the seed head on the bottom that whisks around the base of the kind of frames the base of that one. Yeah, I do. I like it a lot, but I think it's two separate images.
Yep.
So yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, thank you very much for sending your images in and waiting for your episode to come up. We just needed a little break for a while, and we're back, and hopefully we'll get a few more of these rolling out real soon to you. Send your images to chickstalkingpics@gmail.com. We do monitor that email pretty frequently. So we will put your images in the queue. Make sure they're in JPEG format and you upload them as 1920 pixels on the longest side, if you would. It just saves us a little time for preparing images for the show. And
includes your metadata. It's a little helpful sometimes for us to get that information.
yes, include your metadata if you have that.
Yep. Other than that, if you go to the channel that you're watching right now, hit the subscribe and the all button, you'll get notified when we do have our next episode out, but it should be every 2 weeks for at least a little while now.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, everybody, thanks very much. Thanks, Jenny. Nice to see you again. We've had a break for a while, so we are back at it, and we'll see you in a couple more weeks.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.